Everyone, welcome to the Planet OSRS guide for Guardians of the Rift. I'm going to do my absolute best to give you a complete breakdown of Guardians of the Rift, from explaining the basics of the game to taking a step back from there and explaining the gear. But in order to explain the gear, I'm going to talk about the different rewards you can get. And in order to talk about the rewards, we have to talk about how the rewards are calculated. So I'm going to touch on all that, different strategies of how to play and things of that nature. So the timestamps are definitely going to be your friend for this one. So feel free to hop around as you need. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and talk about here is the rewards, because there's a lot of really cool stuff. I have a lot of it here on. I have kind of two tones of the eye outfit, and I have the Abyssal Lantern, but we're going to touch on all that. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is how the rewards are calculated. So in order to earn rewards in Guardians of the Rift, there's two types of energies that you generate during the game. There's catalytic energy and there's elemental energy. Now the catalytic energy is going to be runes like Blood, Death, Chaos, Mind, Body, Cosmic, things like that. Those will give you catalytic energy in the game. Elementals is exactly how it sounds: air, earth, water, fire, those kinds of runes. In order to qualify to earn rewards in Guardians of the Rift, you have to have 150 points in each category. So 150 catalytic and 150 elemental. That will qualify you for one reward point with a 50% chance to round up to 2. Now, it doesn't usually always break down like that. Sometimes you'll earn, let's say you earn 450 catalytic points and 230 elemental points. Your reward pools go off of your lower number of the two. So if your elemental energy is a lower number in that example at 230, you would have 2 reward pools from the game with a 30% chance of that rounding up to 3. Does that make sense to everybody? So again, it takes the lower of the two numbers, divide it by 100. That whole number is the amount of pools, and then whatever's left over, like the 10, 20, 15, 35, is the percentage chance of that rounding up to the next whole number. And then your reward pools, you just come here and then just pool on him. You have to enter your bank pin. You can do batch pools of 5 to make it faster, or just individually each, and then go from there. Now, one of the rewards that you will get here is Abyssal Pearls. And then you can come over here to Apprentice Felix and then trade in those pearls for different things here. For instance, the hat of the eye, the robe top of the eye, the robe bottom of the eye, and the boots of the eye will all give you additional runes when you're runecrafting. So the complete set really can boost your number of runes, pretty significantly. You can use this outfit to boost the number of runes for some of the achievement diaries. There's a couple of them that this will help for. But this is really good to make profit overall, so this is well worth your time. The other thing of note here is the Guardian's Eyes can be used to transform the Runecrafting pet into a mini Rift Guardian pet. So those are just some things here. One other thing to note, and we'll touch on this here when we get into the collection log, because there's a bunch of other things for Guardians of the Rift here. You can, if you get dyes, because you can dye the outfit, as you can kind of see here. I have some of it blue, some of it red. I'm in the process of trying to turn it over to red. Let's say there's blue, red, and green dyes. If you get a green dye from a pool from the Rewards Guardian and you're like, man, but I really want the blue outfit because I think it looks cooler than the green, you can just come over to Apprentice Felix here and then just right click and use the dye on him and trade it out for a different dye color. Now that won't give you the die in the collection log. You still have to, in order to fill that slot in the collection log, you actually have to pull it from the Rift Guardian. But that is an option that you have if you're trying to get it to a specific color. Okay, so here's the collection log. Now I want to go through this a little bit because there's some other things in here that are kind of important here. So this is the Abyssal Protector. It's the pet. You can see here that I've collected 3,663 of the pearls. Those are the pearls that you can trade in with the Princess Felix for the robe. The other thing here is the Abyssal Needle. Now this can be used on your Runecrafting pouches to create the Colossal Pouch. One thing of important note about the needle, they've actually made a game update here where if you have all of the pouches, like the small, medium, large, and giant, you can use the needle on it to create the Colossal Pouch, and the pouch will just scale to your Runecrafting level. Now, the nice thing about the Colossal Pouch is it saves you a bunch of inventory spaces, so instead of having to have all those pouches in your inventory individually and burning up inventory space, you can have the Colossal Pouch, which holds the same amount as all of those other pouches individually, and it's only taking up one inventory spot. The nice thing about this update is the pouch will actually scale to your level. So if you have a lower Runecrafting level where maybe you can only use the small and the medium pouch, you can still use the needle to create the Colossal Pouch, save the inventory spot, and it'll only fill up the small and the medium pouch, and it just kind of scales with you as your Runecrafting level increases. So that's a really nice feature that they made to update that. I think it's really great that they did that. You can see here's the dyes that I was telling you about. Again, if there's a color that you have in the log but you don't want it and you're going for a different outfit recolor, just right click on the dye, use it on a Princess Felix, and you can get it swapped out. Obviously the eye outfit, right there in the collection log. The Abyssal Lantern is very cool. I actually just recently acquired this. It will allow you to burn logs, and they have different effects. The effects only pertain to Guardians of the Rift. That's very important. You can have it with you, just for cosmetic reasons if you're out and about Runecrafting, like Zaya Runecrafting, or just run into an altar, but it's not going to serve any purpose. And it goes based off of your fire making level. So for example, I can burn redwood logs in it because I have 90 fire making, and that means that in the game of Guardians of the Rift I have a slight chance to create extra elemental energy, but most importantly my pouch doesn't degrade. It gives the same effect as the Runecrafting skill cape does, just within the confines of the game. So that's pretty cool there. This intricate pouch is something that you can get out of the rewards pool. You can find things like clues, runes, talismans, things of that. This is the lost bag. It's just a cosmetic there with the eye outfit. It doesn't really serve any purpose. The tarnished locket can be traded into the tutor over at Lumbridge for the necklace of the eye, which gives you teleports here. And I believe the necklace can be recolored as well. So those are some of the rewards and everything. So with that, we can go ahead and touch on gear and inventory and everything that's going to look like. Okay, so here we go with gear and inventory. You want to bring as much of what you have from the rewards of Guardians of the Rift as you can. So for me, I have the full eye outfit. I have the necklace of the eye there just to teleport here. It doesn't serve any purpose in the game. I just always wear it when I usually just forget to take it off. I've got the lantern with my redwood log so my pouch doesn't degrade. And then you can bring your pouches in there with you. Even if you don't have the needle where you can make the Colossal Pouch here, you can bring them individually and then go in the game there. If you don't have the Abyssal Lantern, you're going to want to bring runes. You're going to want to be on the Lunar Spellbook, so you can cast NPC Contact to the Dark Mage, so he can repair your pouches after every game. If you don't have NPC contact unlocked on the Lunar Spellbook, I would probably just recommend not even bringing the pouches in at all. So if you're just starting out, low-level account, you've never really done this before, I would probably just come in with a pickaxe and then any weight-reducing clothing that you can. Just go in there with a pickaxe, and that would be about it. And then as you start to unlock stuff and you get good pulls from the rewards guardian, then you can start to equip yourself a little bit. It's also important to note that the outfit individually, every individual piece of the eye outfit will give you, an opportunity to craft some additional runes. It's just when it's completed, you get the maximum benefit of it. So as you unlock the different pieces of the eye outfit, the hat, the tops, the bottoms, and the boots, definitely equip them and wear them in the game. But as you're starting out there, just bring the best pickaxe that you have, and you'll be able to go. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and talk about, I'm going to give a brief breakdown of what the encounter looks like. I know to complete, in order to do this, you have to have completed the Temple of the Eye quest. And the end of that quest was basically going over a game of Guardians of the Rift, but I'm going to still touch on it just because it feels like a good thing to do. And then I'm going to switch over to a Guardians of the Rift world, and we're going to run through it because I have some thoughts and things that I can share on that as well. Alright everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and explain the game here. So the basic premise is this. In order to start the game, you have to pass through this barrier. There's a giant guardian in the middle here. We really can't see him right now. He's on this platform. You just can't see him because I haven't passed through the barrier. But when the game's active, there's a portal into the abyss that opens up, and abyssal creatures spawn. We can build guardians to kind of combat them, and there's blocks that we can use to kind of put shields up in order to save the guardian. We have to charge him to 100% so he can blast the portal and close the portal temporarily. If there's no shields up, then the creature, and there's no guardians up, then the creatures of the abyss can attack him and lower his energy. So it's kind of like that tug of war. We raise his energy by when these pillars over here are active, you'll kind of see them, they light up. It gives you direct access to the altar to craft runes. As you craft the runes, you get the catalytic or elemental energy, and then at the end you just run up, and after you've crafted the runes, and you go back through the portals like you would just any other rune crafting time, and it brings you right over here. And then you just click on the giant guardian, and it will deposit the energy fragments that you get, and it helps fuel him. So that's basically all there is to it. I'm going to just go ahead and kind of show you here. I'm going to pass through the barrier and give you a lay of the land. All the prompts for when the game starts are going to be in the chat box. So these things here, the weak cells, you can take a weak cell, and then you just need to take a chisel here, and then you can go over here and just use it. That will create the guardians. You'll see there. And then these uncharged cells become charged as you craft runes. And over here is where you mine from the guardian parts. There's no need to do it right now because now the game starts. So the creatures of the abyss are going to attack here in a little bit. And then we have the guardian parts. You just come over here. You don't actually need the chisel for this. But this gives you you just work on that workbench, and it gives you the guardian essence. The guardian essence is what you use on these altars when they light up here in a minute. If you have level 56 agility, you can come over here and use this agility shortcut and mine from the large guardian remains instead of the small ones, and it gives you more of the fragments. Your fragment count will go up a little bit faster, so it makes it easier to work through it there and go from there. So I'm going to just keep mining here until it starts, and then I'll just go through whatever elemental thing. So see here, it says my elemental energy is 0 and my catalytic energy is 0. That's because the game hasn't started. In about 48 seconds here, there's going to be a rift. You can see the Guardian that I made. He's just kind of chilling out there. When you're on a Guardians of the Rift world, there's going to be a bunch of players who make those Guardians. You can have 2 out there. It looks like it says 1 out of 2. I'm pretty sure that scales. If you're on an official world, you can have more because I'm pretty sure there's more out there. So, and the eye from the reward shop will make him will make the Runecrafting pet turn into look like a miniature version of this Great Guardian over here. It's pretty cool looking. So this is the dude that we got to charge up here. And we'll go ahead and get started in 3 seconds. So let's see what lights up. Or, sorry, 5 seconds here. All right, so see here we have the body altar active for the catalytic energy and the nature altar active for the elemental energy. So I'm just going to go in here real quick and craft some runes here to show you. So see, I crafted some runes. I have some elemental stone that I can use to power the Guardian, and I have an overcharged cell. So I'm going to take this out here. And then power him up. And then I can use this cell right over here and then there's a shield that's up there now with half health. Those cells can be used to charge the shield and everything. The more cells that you have, just to keep them charged. Now, these portals, I want to talk about these portals because you just said, you can see this right here, this portal icon. It says to the southeast, and then it warped me over here. When you mine from the huge Guardian remains, you get the Guardian essence directly. So this saves you time from having to go to the workbench and take the essence fragments and then turn them into... It saves you from taking the essence fragments and then turning them into the actual essence that you can runecraft. And then you can fill your pouches easier, so it gets you back out there in the fight a little bit quicker. One thing that happened there at the end of the game, I misspoke. I went into the fire altar and I called it the nature altar. And along those lines, I did want to just briefly mention nature runes count towards catalytic energy, not nature energy, or elemental energy, I mean, rather. It seems kind of counterintuitive because you think like nature, elemental, but no. Nature runes are catalytic energy. Now, there are still benefits to playing Guardians of the Rift, even if you have it greenlogged, because you get a massive, pretty substantial experience drop at the end of the game. And that experience drop is based solely on the contributions you make during the game. It has nothing to do with your rewards points or the energy that you generate. So if you want to play Guardians of the Rift to maximize your experience, if you have it greenlogged and you're just trying to get through Runecrafting, because it's not a bad way to go for 99, you'd probably prioritize your blood runes, your death runes, your law runes, maybe even nature and chaos runes. And you'd probably take some of those uncharged orbs with you, and then because they charge as you runecraft them, as we just saw, and then drop some of those up because those kinds of contributions as well to increase that experience drop at the end of each game. It's not going to net you very many points, but you don't really care about that since you have it greenlogged and you're just there for the experience anyway. If you're trying to maximize points, one of the strategies that you do is you pretty much want your points to be balanced between the catalytic energy and the elemental energy. So you want to also maximize being able to time your trips with when those portals open. So you want to be empty and having to make more of the essence to take the fragments and make them into the essence when those portals open. And we're going to go over all that next here. I'll show you some of those strategies. And then lastly, we'll wrap up with some of the combo runes and how you can do that here as well. Alright, so I'm going to show you a full game on a Guardians of the Rift world. Now our object is going to be done runecrafting and done with everything that we need to do in time to make it through this portal here at the end of the first game, and then you use that portal to start the second game. Now, I'm obviously not going to take it because I want to show you kind of what the first game looks like a little bit. So I'm going to parse this all together and kind of explain it. So I'm going to actually start, obviously, you know, if you don't have the agility shortcut, you start mining rocks over here. And I'm on a Guardians of the Rift world. So you start mining the essence over there. I'm going to use the agility shortcut because I have the level. So I'm going to go over here to start the next game. The altars and everything stay open once he's reached 100%, and then he's going to close the rift temporarily here. And that closes it, and then the guardians go away. We wait for it to open, and it starts over. So I'm going to just start the next game down over here. All right, the next game's about to start. Everybody's hitting their spec on their dragon pickaxes, and then you just start mining. Now, I'm going to probably stop. There's a couple schools of thought here on where you stop mining on, you know, an actual world. Usually around 120 total is good here. You know, I'm at 32 right now. I try to stop it around the 45-second marker because I find that usually gives me enough time to get to an altar there, because shortly after your first batch of runes that you craft, the portal will open, and then you'll be able to get the essence blocks to get right back out and craft another batch. Most of the time on the Guardians of the Rift worlds, I don't really bother with carrying the cells. It's just added time to drop them off, and then you have to, like I was saying earlier, you have to find, okay, this shield has lost a little bit of health, so I can drop it here. You know, I can go over here. It can be kind of chaotic. I like to just focus on runecrafting when I do this, but I just, you know, wanted to cover it with everybody there. So we're gonna keep mining here almost to our target goal. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna start heading up now. Follow the crowd. Most people had the same idea that I had here. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow the crowd right on over here. Start crafting my blocks, and then I'm gonna fill my pouch and keep going. We can see the altars are just about to open up. And we have earth for the elemental and catalytic body for the catalytic. I might just go for it here, just because it's right here. Not the best to start with. I'm just going to drop the runes. And run up here and use the essence on there. And there we have a portal. Same thing, just fill the pouch. See, so now we have earth. The shields are still marked because of my Vardorvis guide. I still have the mysterious stranger from the hallowed sepulchre mark, so it apparently marks everything that has a sort of a brick layout. And now I see I have a talisman, so I could come back to this altar even if it's not active, if I wanted the elemental energy for it. just drop those runes. And then it's just basically rinse and repeat here on the first game. And then I will see you back here a little bit more closer to the end of the first game. And then we'll talk about ending it in the portal. I typically, actually, before we pick it up there, I typically will take a little bit of a loss on the first game when it comes to points, because it's more important to end the first game in that portal to start the second, third, fourth, and so on and so forth. Any games after that off on a good note there. So that way you can be on time for the portals and everything like that. But I'll show you how that's all going to shake out here in a moment. One thing I did want to note here before we end this first game, this pool here, you can just deposit your runes in it. You just click on it, and then any runes that are in your inventory, you'll deposit. All right, so the first game's about to end here. And I'm going to just go ahead and enter the portal. One thing to note here too, if you come to a Guardians of the Rift world, if you get yourself geared up and just walk into it in the middle of a game, you can just kind of camp out there till the Rift Guardian hits between 85 to 90% when the last portal over here spawns, where you can mine the actual essence directly. And you can just camp there to pretty much start your first game from the portal. If there's availability in the game, you can enter that portal at any time. Now, you're not going to get any experience for it or anything, because remember, you have to have a minimum of 300 and 150 on each to even qualify for that experience drop. But you can just camp out there to start your first game over here. So again, the game ended. As the second one starts, my inventory is going to empty anyway. So I will be right back when this game starts. I got 4,185 experience for that last game, which isn't bad because I really didn't do a whole lot. I was more focused on just kind of explaining a couple of the nuances and why I do what I did, and when I stopped mining the essence and when to start crafting, and then when to be up there to enter the rift. So really not all that bad for not doing a whole lot for that first game. All right, game's about to start. I'm gonna go ahead and hit my special attack, and here we go. See my inventory emptying. Now I'm gonna show you how to be on schedule, or as close to it as you can, to maximize hitting all the portals in this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill my pouch, keep going here. And I'm going to head right over to the shortcut because I have it. If not, you would want to head south and just start mining on from the smaller ones over there, down right by the pool that I showed a moment ago. I got to drop it, one of the blocks. And now I have a whole over a minute to just start mining here. Now, because I already have a full inventory of essence ready to go, I don't have to leave at 45 seconds to start crafting. So I have the entire time to just kind of sit here and mine the essence. It's probably going to come out to, something fairly similar there numbers wise, but you don't quite need as much, because if we do this correctly, you'll be able to hit more of the portals and maximize your time in the portals where you're mining the essence blocks directly. So almost done. Another 5 seconds, the rifts become active. And yeah, so that ended up being right around the same. So I'm going to go ahead and just start here. The cosmic one open. I'm going to just go here because it's close. Oops, I ran the complete wrong way there. I didn't have my camera oriented directly. So we have a portal open here already. See, that got me right back in the portals. Now at around 45 to 50% will be the next portal. So I was hoping to have another round of runes crafted by then from just going to the chisel, but I'm not sure that that's going to be in the cards. I'm actually just going to go to the chaos rune because it's close, and then I'll worry about evening my elemental points out later. So I want to try to see if I can still hit this. That was my own fault for not having my camera oriented correctly. All right, I'm just about done here. I'm going to see if I can't hit this. It's going to be close. Air, go in the air, go in the air. Yeah, there we go. So I'll be able to hit this next portal. So even though I messed up with my camera, I still made it in the portal. All right. Got a full inventory here of blocks from the portal. I'm going to just go in earth because it's here, and I have to balance out my points. And just drop those because I don't need them. I'm going to drop these off. All right, now I have 56 left, and I can hopefully get one last batch of runes crafted here. So I usually do like one inventory of each, so I'm only going to I'm going to try to fill the pouch once and then my inventory, and then do one of each, and then still try to hit the portal. And I should have the time to do it, so we'll see. That should put me over 300, and that should give me 3 points per game, which isn't too shabby. There we go. So 9 seconds here. I'll have plenty of time to make it up to get these natures. So I'm going to craft these. I'm going to drop off my energy here. I'm going to try to deposit these in the pool and then get over to where I need to go for earth. A little bit closed. Okay, fire, go up there. I might not even make this. Let's see. I mean, it's on the south, so I might be okay. It's going to be close. Nope. I was a hair too slow. Ideally, though, if there's a little bit of time left right there, you'll be able to hit the portal. The mistake that I made was my camera wasn't oriented the correct way, so I was a little bit behind. Ideally, after you craft the first runes, the first batch from blocks, there's a few seconds there before that first portal opens. Not a bad idea to just come over here and start crafting. So then when that first portal opens at around like 20 to 25%, you can hit that portal and then you're spending less time in there. That was going to be my plan, but my camera was oriented like this and I thought it was north to south, so I went off in a random direction there. But ideally, that's what you can do, so then you can stay ahead of it. So then by the end of the game, you have a little bit of extra time, so it's not quite as tight to hit that portal, and then you can start the next game from the portal, and then the process just repeats. I messed up because my camera was oriented incorrectly, but that would be how you do it. So lastly, we'll go ahead and talk about combination rune crafting. The last thing that I want to touch on here for the guide is combination rune crafting. This will be for elemental runes specifically, and the benefits of doing this are it gives you 50% more elemental points, and the runes that you craft actually sell for a pretty penny, so you can make decent money doing this. So if you have the Abyssal Lantern or the Rune Crafting Skill Cape, this is how your inventory and gear is going to look. So you need to be wearing a binding necklace. You're probably going to want to have a spare in your inventory as well. You're going to want to bring a rune pouch, fill it with astral runes, mud runes, and mist runes. And then you're going to want to have some extra water runes in your inventory. If you have the lantern and the cape, and you have everything configured for this current setup, the altars that you're going to want to look out for elemental rune crafting are going to be the fire altar and the earth altar. Now, if you don't have the Abyssal Lantern or the Rune Crafting Skill Cape, then you're going to need access to NPC contact to contact the Dark Mage to heal your pouch in between games. So you're going to want to swap out the water runes for air runes and then bring some cosmic runes as well. Your rune crafting pouch is going to look like this. So we're going to keep the astral runes, and then combination runes are going to be smoke runes and mist runes. And then for this setup, you want to look out for the fire altar and the water altar. Those are going to be the two altars that you're going to look out for your elemental runes if you have to use this NPC contact setup. Now, if you have the thread from the Tombs of Amasket and you have access to the fourth rune that you can store in the pouch, obviously cosmic runes can go in the pouch just fine. Alright, so I'm almost done here. I just finished up. Now I see a water altar that popped up here. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Magic Imbue. And then use the water or the air runes on the altar. I didn't do that the first time there, so make sure that you use the runes on the altar, ladies and gentlemen. Oop, I have to cast it again. And then if you do it quick enough, you can get everything crafted. And now I have Polymental Guardian Stone, so then I'll give this up. And as you can see, 164 elemental energy from just the one trip there. I misclicked the first time there, so I didn't get everything off in one trip, but you should be able to do it in one cast of Magic Imbue. And you shouldn't be using too many charges from your binding necklace per game. If you are, then there might be something that you're doing wrong there, such as me misclicking there. But yeah, that's really all that there is to combo rune crafting. Alright, so I did demonstrate the NPC contact configuration on that one, even though I had my Abyssal Lantern in my inventory. I was just configured for that, and I just wanted to show an example of how to do it during a game. In order to do this, you do have to be on the Lunar Spellbook. I didn't say that before, so definitely want to be on the Lunar Spellbook for that. And to use the Abyssal Lantern method, you would have to have the Abyssal Lantern burning redwood logs, which does require 90 fire making. So those were just a couple of the little caveats there. And then obviously once you craft your combo runes, you can just use them on the pouch, and they go right into the pouch as well there. So those are just the last couple things I wanted to touch on there with combo rune crafting. And that should wrap up the guide. So we covered everything from the mechanics of the game, the rewards, how rewards are calculated, different strategies, and combo rune crafting. I hope you found this helpful. As always, if you're looking for a clan, our Discord link is down in the description. Feel free to come guest in-game at Planet Space OSRS. That's PLANET space OSRS. There's a place for you. We would love to have you. Until the next one, everybody, take care.